He'll go like retweet it and stuff on Twitter and whatnot.
Perfect.
All righty. Hello, everybody. Welcome in and welcome back to another episode of the Going the Distance podcast. After a week little hiatus there, Elijah and I both had a little bit of personal stuff come up. So we are back for Monday, back on regular schedule. But this time, Zach is joining us, filling in for Elijah, who has stuff to tend to. And if you guys don't recognize Zach, you guys should, from the Betting on the Rocks podcast over on the GTD Sports Network. You should also, before we go ahead and get into this episode, I'll go ahead and get the shout-outs through. Follow us on social media. You can see on the screen over at Ryan Bennell8 and at Zach Rieger 18. Also on TikTok, if you want to follow us. I'm the same username, but I know Zach is at Betting on the Rocks. We've been posting there. Some live streams soon to come together.
Yeah, but go follow me so I can do a live stream.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And then we can make stuff happen. Dude, that would be so fun once we can do that.
I know.
We can cook up some parlays, something, whatever. But anyway, though, other than that, be sure to go and check out all of the GTD Sports content over at gtdsports.com. Zach's podcast, as I mentioned, along with our others, such as Hockey Down Here, are on the GTD Sports Podcast Network. And last but not least, I just want to give a shout out because I'm not sure if we've been able to, since this deal came to fruition. I may be wrong. I may have said it on 2 weeks ago podcast, but BetUS Sportsbook, GTD, and we have both combined. We have partnered. So the official sportsbook of GTD, you could say now. If you guys want to sign up for 125% deposit match bonus, you can use code GTDS125 to sign up today, or you can use the link on our website. I'm sure you guys will be able to find it. It's very self-explanatory.
Did you say 125? Like
100?
Over 100%?
Over 100%. Oh my God!
What a deal!
What a steal! Yeah, and you're gonna help fund us because we're broke. So yeah, go help fund us.
We were just talking before we went live about how broke we were. So yeah, anything helps.
Yeah, we need funding. We need moolahs. That's the thing. All right. Anyway, that's really all we got for the intros. We're not a major episode today. Might be kind of a quick one, but we're going to go ahead and cover baseball, whether or not it's even going to be a thing this season with the MLB lockout and all that buffoonery surrounding it. We're also with March Madness, as you can tell by the title. We sleep in May. It is March. As of midnight, it is March. March Madness is here. We're talking college basketball, giving a tiny little preview into the tournament. And last but not least, of course, on the theme of basketball is the Lakers are bad. That's all I'm going to say about that for now. But before we get into it, let's start out Monday like we always do. Zach, I know you might not be as accustomed to this, but it's our highlight, low light of the weekend. I know you've done it before, though, so I'll go ahead and hand it off to you.
Oh, man. Well, I'm happy to be here. Happy to be back. It's just us two this time. It's going to be a great show. Very good. We'll see if it's short. Kind of looking at the doc, it'll be short, but I've been known to ramble, so we'll see.
No, it's fine, dude. It's fine.
So,
hey, that's what podcasts are for, bro.
Yeah, no. So the highlight has to be I had definitely the best college basketball day I've had this year, and probably the best I've had in at least a very long time. I had 9 plays. Normally the Saturdays just destroy me. I'm like 4 and 5, which is like okay. I didn't lose that much. 3 and 6. No, I went 8 and 1. Just absolutely an incredible day. Purdue was my only loss, so I started off the day 0 and 1, and then just boom, 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 just kept going 8 and 1. I had money on Hawaii. Ended up waking up, had to check that one. I'm like, okay, even 7 and 2, I'll be fine. But of course, Hawaii smashed because
Hawaii waking up to like a Hawaii game. The results, one of the best feelings.
I tweeted it as like just waking up to a Hawaii cover like that. Had me feeling like an island boy. That is
like island boy.
No,
but it's also the worst feeling on the opposite end.
Yeah. No, well, I was like originally. So we ended up kind of life plan. We switched it up. I thought I'd be at a bar, all night. Ended up doing bars during the day. I then got home a little bit earlier, and so it was like, the game's about to start. Cal State Bakersfield. I don't remember what their cover. They were like 4-13 and 1 against the spread, or just something awful. And I'm like, this is just easy. This is an easy decision. Got to roll with Hawaii. Ended up working real nice. So 8 and 1, and the Purdue pick, like,
I had Michigan State though, so like I knew you were on Purdue too.
So I do.
I'm a sucker for Sparty.
No, that's why I should have picked them. Like they crossed off. I'm not obviously going to give my whole strategy away, but let's say if there were, maybe three things that I look at, Michigan State checked off all three. But a combination of me not being able to trust them because they've done me dirty this year, and then seeing absolutely everyone on Michigan State, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pick Purdue. And obviously, I should have just stuck with my plan because I could have gone 9-0, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, 8-1 is pretty good.
Yeah, I can't believe I only got 8-1. Like, no, said no one ever. So very excited about that. So getting hot right before March Madness. Hopefully not too hot. I put out a nice talk about why can't I just enjoy these winning streaks? Because once you get hot, you're like, okay, it's gonna be coming down. But we don't need to focus on that.
Dude, I'm on the opposite end right now. I'm kind of cold right now, so I need it to turn around.
Yeah, this is the highlight. So yeah, watch you. You're gonna go off in March Madness, and I'm gonna have the worst March ever. But we're not gonna focus on that.
Yeah, we're not gonna focus on it.
So I guess the low light. I guess the low light, not going 9-0, but whatever. That'd be a douche.
Yeah, that's a stretch. That's a stretch.
That'd be, dude. Like, could you imagine if that was my low light? I came here serious with that.
Like, yeah, it's like I only went 8-1. I lost.
Dude, yeah, I lost. I'd be like one of those Twitter people that have never missed a bet. Like,
if it was a parlay though, that'd be a different discussion.
Oh yeah, no, these were all straight bets going 8-1.
Yeah, parlay would be brutal.
So we decided we're going to give a little shout out to the app Chalkboard. If you're not on it, you got to get on it. Like, I'm not just saying this. It's
I really do enjoy it. I think it's really cool. Yeah,
like I'm on it all the time. Like you get to track your bets, which is awesome. You have like stuff like a Discord, so you have a chat that you're always talking, and then like the score, you get to check all the scores. Like it's literally got everything.
Yeah, it's like sports betting crossed with Discord. It's really cool. So yeah, I'm working on. I got to speak with the management. On working on getting a combination of like GTD as a whole with Chalkboard, maybe rather because like as of right now, it's kind of just like through my TikTok. So I want to see if we can do GTD that way, like all of us admins, run the GTD because then it could be, all of our TikToks bring people to that and GTD. Like I feel like that would just be bigger and better. So right now the group is named Gamblers Anonymous. If you guys download Chalkboard, go join that. But stay on the lookout. Name might change. Things might change. Hopefully soon it will be the GTD bets or something,
Yeah, so it'll be nice. So anyways, one of the admins, not going to name names, had the amazing idea to start, doing an admin parlay where there's three admins, pretty standard, 3-leg parlay. Each one takes our lock of the night and we put them all together and we all ride together. So the inaugural first one, when was that? Was that Friday?
Yeah, it was like 3 days ago. Yeah, we've had 3
Friday. Yeah. So it was Friday, the inaugural. So kind of a tough card. I only had I had 2 plays. So I forgot who you had.
In the first one, shit.
Yeah, that's what anyways, Ryan's hit, Matt, the other admin, his hit, and then it came down to Troy +2.
Oh, it was a sweat too.
It was a sweat. They end up losing by 5, and we haven't hit one yet. We're 0-3, but we're so due for.
We're due, bro. No, yeah, because the thing is, your pick lost day 1, Matt's pick lost day 2, and now my pick just lost yesterday. So scientifically speaking, it's hitting tonight.
Yeah. So was it tonight? It's Indiana. It's already started. It's the Pacers. The Fordham, who I've got on the TV here, they've been up, and then my pick of Wyoming +2. Well, I just ended up moneylining them, so we're gonna see what happens.
Dude, the Pacers were up at halftime, and now they're down by 10 to the Magic, bro.
I do hate that you picked the Pacers against my Orlando Magic.
I know you're a Magic fan, but dude, they're bad. Okay. I saw the Pacers as underdogs, and I'm like, you gotta be shitting me, bro. Like, what?
Yeah, that's just the Magic,
I know the Pacers are bad, but like, I feel like Tyrese Halliburton could carry at least to a win over the Magic. Okay, anyway, though.
You'd think. But anyways, so we haven't hit yet, but being the only one to miss on the inaugural, the first day where it's like, okay, Ryan's hit, Matt's hit, and it just comes down to me. We'll hit it, but like to hit on the very first day.
Oh, it would have been electric. Yeah.
Would have been electric. Nothing short of it. So that was the low light. It was pretty tough. But shout out Chalkboard. We're there. I post all my plays, all my explanations. You can only get them on Chalkboard. I don't post my explanations on Twitter, on TikTok. My picks go there. So Chalkboard is where, if you want to see, the science behind everything, the method behind, or magic behind the method behind the magic, whatever that saying is, come on over to Chalkboard.
The method behind the madness. There we go.
Method behind the madness. I don't know where magic came from, except for the fact they're winning.
Fuck the magic. All right, we don't need to talk about that. But no, yeah, shout out Chalkboard. Go join that. Like I said, hopefully we'll get the GTD corporation or like incorporation set up sooner or later. But dude, if I was explaining my picks, like every single pick, sometimes I feel like it would just be an essay because like I have like 10 picks a day sometimes. So
dude, did you see my Saturday one? Probably not, because it was so long. Because I did one for all 9.
I did. No, I did. Yeah.
And I thanked people at the bottom. I was like, if you actually read all of this, like, I love you. And I'm like, I forgot exactly what I said. I said something, but it was along those lines. Like holy shit, if you actually read this whole thing, because it was a novel.
Oh, yeah, it says best of luck, and if you read all of that, I truly appreciate you. Let's get some wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I kept it kind of reserved there on what I was truly feeling. I was like, if you actually read this, like, whew.
Oh, I mean, what I've noticed is even like the few people because right now the Chalkboard group isn't like that massive, but even like the few people that are just like randoms, they've been kind of active. Like there's been a couple or like 3 people that have been like this never a doubt guy. Don't know who that is, but
I'm pretty sure he follows me on Twitter.
Okay, sick.
So I'm going to take credit for him joining.
Yeah.
Like once. I don't know if that's true, but you can't track it, so I'm going to take credit for it. So
I don't know if you could. There might be. I bet there's a way to track it on the back end. But
you probably could, but
yeah,
we don't have to worry about that. Don't worry about it. I'll take credit. I don't mind.
All righty, let's go ahead. My highlight. We just shout out Chalkboard. That's all you need to know about that conversation. Go download Chalkboard.
Yeah. I'm on this podcast. This is not going to be a short episode. We're still in the intro.
All right, my highlight. A little bit of a personal life highlight, not necessarily sports related, and except for the fact that I'm doing sports journalism. I've talked kind of a bit on the podcast about the stress of applying to grad school and everything, but I got into both schools. I applied to Syracuse and Arizona State. Thank you, Zach. So I have no idea exactly what the plan is, where I'll be attending. Right now, I can say I'm leaning towards Arizona State, but we'll see what the future holds. But exciting stuff nonetheless. And then low light is quite the opposite. So last night, it was also a part of our admin parlay that Zach and I had just been talking about, is I had Lakers money line. That's all we needed to hit the parlay. And I stupidly decided to upgrade the Lakers money line like an hour before the game to like a max 5-unit play, like over $100 on that bitch. And they lost by like 40. So
he was feeling it.
I was actually so confident. I was like, the Lakers as 2-point favorites in this spot, like against I know the Pelicans got McCollum now, but bro, what's McCollum gonna do? What? Obviously shit on them, but I didn't think so. Oh my God, that was frustrating. That was a brutal loss. That was one of the worst. But hey, it makes for good TikTok content,
Exactly. That's what I was. I was in a meeting the other day, and we just about sports betting with some companies that they're trying to get into the sports betting space. So reached out to me and just did like a quick kind of half-hour meeting, and yeah, they I don't remember where that story was going, but I'd just like to brag that I have meetings about sports betting, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's weird that like sports betting is like a part of the job now, which is great. I like that though. That's the goal.
Absolutely. I can't believe my brain just stopped. What were you talking about? This is going to piss me off.
Dude, I was talking about the Lakers couldn't cover for shit.
I know Lakers didn't cover. NBA.
Talking about how CJ McCollum couldn't do shit, but then he absolutely destroyed me and all my dreams.
Dude, I literally have no idea. Like, my brain literally just stopped.
Hey, that honestly happens to me sometimes, though.
Dude, normally I'll just keep rambling, but I was like, I'm going to stop it this time. This is only my first beer, so it's not even that. Like, what? That just, wow. Okay. Let's move on, because that was weird.
All right, let's go ahead and get into some moving on from the lowlights now. Not going to spend too much time on this, but it is super relevant right now. I think we kind of have to talk about it. Just is baseball ever going to be a thing in 2022? So for those of you that don't know the situation, basically the MLB, the owners, all the front office, everybody, their revenue share of the MLB's revenue has gone up drastically, like over 20%, I believe, in the last 2 decades.
Oh,
Meanwhile, the players' percentage of that revenue has not changed at all. And I know what you're thinking. Oh, but they make millions. They're all rich. That's not the case. Not all of them are rich. Some of these guys are making meat ends. And wait, what were you about to say, Zach?
Well, it's just a lot of times with baseball, there's not a big middle ground. It's you're broke until you hit that big Mike Trout contract. There's no in between. It's either obviously you can do well for yourself. You're in the majors, but I mean, if you're going between minors and majors, you're not making that much. And then it's like, okay, you kind of get that first major league contract. You can obviously survive, make ends meet. No worries like that. But it's not like the NFL where there's like that middle ground where it's like, okay, everyone is making at least like $1 million essentially.
Yeah. There's no like minimum, like with the NBA.
The max is insane. Like it's more than any other sport is the max, but there's not like that kind of in between. So that's
because like if you're in the NBA, you're guaranteed $4.8 million a year.
Yeah.
So that's nuts compared to baseball. But then you again, like you said, you look at the pinnacle of it, and then you're gonna be like, holy shit, baseball's rich. Like, but
there's no in between.
So basically, while the ownership and everybody else's revenue share has gone up, the players have not earned a dime more than or percentage wise. It's all relative to the percentage of the total revenue from the league. And so hasn't changed. It hasn't gotten any better. And the players are kind of fed up. Their original player agreement just expired. Also, correct me if I say anything wrong. The player agreement just expired. The players were essentially just like, fuck that. We deserve more money. Like, you guys are kind of hoeing us right now. So, and here we are. We're at the lockout now. And it was supposed to be today was a big meeting. Regular season games are going to be canceled if there was not a decision or an agreement reached by Monday, which is today. So talks, they've been going on all day. I don't know if they're over. They might be over by the time we started this. I don't necessarily know exactly what happened, but I don't think an agreement was reached. I can tell you that.
I was looking at stuff right before, and I haven't heard anything new. And I saw articles that were posted like 40 minutes prior, so probably not. But just one more thing for the players are getting paid so much. Crowd, like, if you think the players are getting paid this much, what do you think the owners are getting paid? Like,
exactly.
That's the thing that I always think. I'm like, these guys are making so much, and they're literally ruining the sport. Like, I like baseball a lot more than a lot of other people, and they're like, it's bad. Like it.
Yeah, I'm not as big of a baseball guy. I know you definitely are bigger than me, but I agree 100%. Fuck Rob Manfred. Fuck everything the owners are doing to baseball. It's just. It's so aggravating, dude, because I want to like baseball more. I want it to be appealing as a fan.
It could be not. Like it could be there so easily. Like, just let the players, like, obviously, figure out the financials, but then after that, like, let the players have some fun. Like, if you want to smack talk a little bit, run around the bases, like dance when you're running around the bases, do that. That's electric. That's fun. That's why does it have to be hit a home run. All right, straight. If you smile, like I swear,
you're on the goddamn bench if you smile.
What? Like, let these guys have some fun. Like, that's what you need. You need to get, like, it's all like the old like baseball fans. It's like, I mean, you want that fan base, but you're not attracting anyone new. You're not attracting the young fans. So like, it's literally going to die. Like,
dude, a big thing with baseball, kind of just piggybacking off what you said with the old head, the traditional baseball fans. You're right. That is such a massive audience that they like need it. They almost like can't afford to lose it. But at the same time, going back to kind of what we were talking about before the episode with transition periods, baseball might be in a little bit of a transition period in the sense that I think they should just fuck the traditional crowd, fuck the old heads. And they need to get like Gen Z. If they don't get Gen Z, then baseball's going to die. Like, it's already quote unquote dying,
Yeah.
But it's really going to die if they don't get this young crowd. And I think with like TikTok and everything, I know that sounds, cliche, benign, but with TikTok has made me like baseball more. Like even though it's a small part, just seeing videos of like Shohei Ohtani or Fernando Tatis doing just some cool shit, that makes me want to watch them play. And so I think if they just focus on that new marketing, that new age era to get the new crowd, I think it can happen. But
they have the players, they have the personalities. Like Tatis is electric, Vladdy's hilarious. They have the talent, they have the big names, they have the personalities. Like, let them have some fun. Let them go attract everything. And that's like that. I guess that's all I'll say. Because if we get too much into it, then we'll start talking Hall of Fame. Then we'll start talking this.
Yeah, just all the whole system.
That's a whole podcast on its own. Like that's so it's tough. Yeah, I know you mentioned, the no-run first innings, which is the most electric bet out there.
Oh, the Nerfies, bro. I'm gonna miss the Nerfies
because there's nothing better because. They're pretty good odds normally. They're normally around like even, like -110, -115, maybe a -120, 30 in there.
Yeah, every now and then.
Not a whole lot. Normally, I don't play those ones. So they're pretty good, like, money. And if it hits, which it hits at a pretty good rate.
Really fucking good rate, yeah.
Obviously, you lose a decent amount too, but, it hits at a good rate. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, I already won a bet. And, like, the game's been on for 5 minutes because it goes by quick if it hits.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
The biggest 15-minute rush of just watching like every pitch.
Yeah, it is. It makes me love baseball so much more.
It's the best. So that will really hurt. Baseball has actually been my most profitable, like dating back to like last year when I really started tracking. Baseball was my most profitable sport, which is hilarious.
Because that's hard to believe.
It's not my
not because you don't know it, but I just mean it's hard to believe because it's tough to bet. Baseball's hard to bet.
Like that's the thing. Like I'm even surprised by it because baseball is not my number one. It's close. It's probably I won't say 2, but it's probably my 3 or 4 because it's like NFL, college football, college basketball, MLB's right there. So those are my 4. So it's like it's right there. But it's an everyday grind, but it's so much fun. Like just waking up, you look at all the pitching matchups, check out the lineups, try to look at who missed, look at the bullpens. You just like look at everything and you try to beat it before the lineups come out. But sometimes you do it, and then all of a sudden the top guy's taking a day off, and you're like,
yeah, exactly, yeah. I really base most of my baseball bets off like pitching matchups. Like I'll do like if it's
huge.
I don't know if it's fucking. Let's just name some 2 top guys like Max Scherzer versus goddamn, I don't know who else, Jacob deGrom. I'm gonna bet the under, even if it's like 6.5, 7. I'm gonna bet the under because
deGrom under's like it'd be under 5.5 and it would smack.
Yeah, like it's just so. If it's like 2 pitchers I've never heard of, and meanwhile like the White Sox are playing, who have bats out the ass, I'm taking the over. Yeah. Well, now, hey, wait. Actually, speaking of baseball, we need to also. We're kind of going off track of the lockout thing, but I wanted to get your opinion on the designated hitter thing because now it's both leagues, right?
Yeah. So, despite me wearing my Toronto Blue Jays, they're my bandwagon team, my AL team. So I bought myself this because why not? I'm from St. Louis, I'm a Cardinals fan, National League. So I'm good with it because it's fun. It will try to help bring stuff. I love pitchers duels, so I don't mind them at all. But there's just something so infuriating if it's like the first 4 innings and you got money on a team, or even if it's just your favorite team, and you have guys on second and third, 2 outs, and then here comes the pitcher.
It's just oh, give him the out. Just give him the out. Yeah, literally.
It's tough, but at the same time, so I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. I'm obviously not going to argue it. The only thing I'm going to miss is pitcher home runs were so lit.
Bro, lit. DeGrom could hit that shit.
DeGrom could hit. Adam Wainwright is always good for at least one a year.
Yeah.
Flaherty, I know he's hit one. So it's fun and it's electric when pitchers hit home runs because you don't expect it, and all of a sudden it's oh, that's going far. So I'll miss that, but other than that, I'm okay with sacrificing that to get a little bit higher.
I prefer the designated hitter thing, and I think it's going to be interesting though to see how it plays out with guys like Shohei. Are they going to let him pitch and hit? Is he going to play pitcher and designated hitter when he's in? They may have to write some new rules just for Shohei.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but I do think that's one of the things they've done right. It's like it was time to happen.
I did too.
Like
Yeah.
I said, I've mixed feelings a little bit because I'm going to miss the pitcher home runs. And, there's that little bit of strategy with like the double switch and with stuff that
That is
I
true.
like.
There is some strategy
I
involved
like
with
all
the
the
pitchers
strategy
hitting.
behind it, but at the same time, I think it's good for where baseball's at. So I don't mind it. Cardinals need to go sign someone now to take over the DH because if Matt Carpenter comes up as the DH, I don't even know what I'm gonna do.
Yo,
Gotta strangle something.
Matt Carpenter's a TCU guy, I'm pretty sure.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, he's like a legend.
Yeah, I'm sure he used to be good, but these last
Oh no, I know.
4
Yeah,
years,
he's fallen off. Yeah.
it's after the salsa season, it's
Same thing happened with Jake Arrieta. He was also a TCU legend, and he was cold for like 2-3 years, and then doggy doo doo now.
Nothing.
But all right, let's so back to the lockout stuff. Some other news kind of came out. Derek Jeter stepped out as CEO, correct, of the Marlins, right?
Yep.
That was his position.
He is out, and I don't blame him there. I saw something that said, I didn't read the whole article, but it was just, differences in views, which is how all these things go out. So it's like Derek Jeter, I'm sure, wanted to win. The owner wanted money. That's essentially, without reading anything, that's what that headline tells me. Maybe it's wrong, but 9 times out of 10, that's what it means. It's this guy wants to win. This guy wants either just more money and focus on that, or wants to do things his way. When Derek Jeter, you would think, knows how to win.
You'd assume so.
You would think he kind of might have the resume to back that up. So that's my kind of assumption, but not really an assumption of reading through the lines.
Yeah, that's because like I saw it and I'm just like, I just didn't really know what to think of it. Like how it necessarily relates with the lockout and everything. Because I'm sure that plays a big part in it.
Yeah, and like the Marlins are finally they've been the biggest joke of an organization forever, and they've actually they made the playoffs a couple years ago. They're actually not a bad team. They got a great young core. They could make some noise this year. Even last year, their record wasn't great, but they were in a ton of games. I bet on the Marlins so much last year and won so much money.
Do they still have Starling Marte, or did they trade him?
No, Marte. Where did he go?
I think he did get traded. Yeah.
I think he might be in Arizona.
That sounds right. Yeah, because I loved using him on MLB The Show, bro. He was cold. I just like that kid.
Let's see. Oh, he's on the Mets now.
Oh shit, dude, the Mets
yeah.
are actually another team that might be cold next year if DeGrom stays healthy.
They should be. They have the roster for it. So yeah, so just went to the Mets. So we'll see if there's something there. Yeah. So he was in Arizona, and then went to Oakland for a sec, and then so.
Oh damn! So he bounced around.
Yeah, I knew he kind of bounced around a little bit throughout the few years, but so yeah, I mean it's going to be a fun year if we can actually have a season, but
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at this rate. Just a short summary of this entire situation is it's fucked. That's really how to describe it. I wouldn't be surprised.
I was gonna say the fact they actually the MLB self-imposed this deadline of today, and then after today, if they start losing games, players are going to lose even more money. I saw someone was an expected 25 million total that the players will lose. So it's they self-imposed this deadline, and they've met twice, but before this, they haven't been meeting. The players have been wanting to meet. Yeah. Owners aren't doing it. Fuck situation.
Yeah, it's all a mess. I don't know how long it's gonna take because of course I'm not an expert when it comes to managing front office of a national sports league, but I'm sure they got to figure it out sooner or later because this is a major operation they're running here. So I think my prediction is we're gonna get 80, 81, 82 games this season, right down the middle. I think about halfway. In terms of this whole debacle, I know your answer already, but I've got to just ask, just for podcast sake, whose side are we on?
Well, the owners care so much about the players and the team,
Oh
like,
yeah, I'm
like
sure, dude.
they care. They really care more about just pad their own pockets. Like, of course, it's the players.
Yeah,
It has to be. Like, we kind of addressed it early on. Like the only argument you have is, oh, they make more money than me. Like, that's pretty much, that just comes from jealousy of, oh, they make money and they get to play a game. Where it's like, okay, like, yes, some of them do make more money than you, but like,
it's like you got to
you
realize
know,
they're getting ripped off. Like
yeah,
they are getting ripped off by
yeah.
the
When you look at the
people that
numbers,
employ
how
them.
much, and inflation's not going anywhere. So just to add a little bit more to it, so it's got to be with the players. Oh no, no.
What?
I have Hofstra -5.5.
Oh no.
Hofstra 87, Charleston 82 with 4 seconds left.
Oh
80,
no.
oh no, 89, 84 just updated. I saw the 89 go, but then the 82 went too.
Bro,
4 seconds left.
the
Please
Pacers
be like foul and shoot free throws or something. Like, I can't see it.
the Pacers are down by fucking 18, bro. It's GG's.
Come on, Hofstra.
It's GG's. Pacers are out. God damn it, dude. That's 2 in a row for me. Fuck.
I tried to find -5, but I only had
Dude,
-5.
I almost went with Heat, bro. I almost went with the Heat -4, and they're up by 16. God damn it! All right, I'm gonna tilt.
Hypotheticals begin. Let the hypotheticals.
I know.
begin.
I'm gonna tilt. Let's not get into it. All right. So last thing I want to say about this whole baseball debacle is, do we really care that this is going on? And my answer is obviously yes. I do care that this is happening. I do care that baseball is being shut out. It's not going to happen. I think that's just preposterous. It's really annoying as a sports fan seeing that. But I will say, as a Rangers fan with nothing to look forward to, and as a moderate baseball fan, not a huge baseball junkie, I'm really not that mad, but I'm going to miss Nerfies. I'm going to miss betting on these Nerfies, and I'm going to miss not having the option to going to games. Like, I know you haven't been to the new Ranger Stadium, but you know how the Rangers have that new dome. Like, it is
I've seen
amazing, bro. It is so cool. I just went there for a TCU game over the weekend. It's sick. Like, so gonna be bummed that I won't be able to go to games, and I'm sure, Zach, you probably feel a little bit stronger than I do about this.
Yeah, I mean, it being realistic. I mean, because obviously I care. I care a very, very good amount, but it is kind of tough right now because it's March Madness is just around the corner. Like, it's March. So it's like right now we're feeling all the excitement, all the hype with that. So it's like, okay, this baseball lockout, it's really still going on. So like, it's kind of tough to like put all your eggs in that basket when you got college basketball. Like the weekend we just had that we're going to talk about here shortly. Like, it was unbelievable. So it's kind of tough to like prioritize it right now, but it does suck. And I mean, if we get to like June and like nothing's been done, like, you're really gonna start feeling it because, like, okay, where's baseball? Like, it's summer.
Yeah,
nothing.
you're right. Yeah,
we
you're
have a
right.
little NBA, but like, we have nothing. Like, where's the day baseball? Like,
I'm supposed
there's
to some points in the year
at my job.
Exactly, bro. There are some points in the year where like baseball is straight up the only thing to bet on, and that is why I bet on baseball. Like,
every day, it's every day.
Exactly, in multiple games a day. It's like it's like the beauty of college basketball, how there's games every day, but it's like so much longer. And it's professional, so you don't have to rely on 18-year-olds to hit free throws because they fucking don't.
Because they just none of them can do it.
None of them do it, bro. I swear. Like, put me in, coach. I'll make a goddamn free throw. Anyway, though, speaking of March Madness, let's go ahead and get in to our little teaser segment for the tourney. But before we necessarily get into any predictions, Cinderella teams, predictions, anything like that, there is a couple random college basketball news topics that I kind of want to talk about. And the first one is, it happened a few days back, but we haven't had a podcast since, is Juwan Howard, Michigan head coach. He's a very famous athlete. If you don't know who Juwan Howard is, he was a part of the Fab Five. Yep. And now he's back in Michigan. He was suspended for the remainder of the season, which was 5 games at the time of the suspension, after swinging on a Wisconsin assistant head coach. And when I say swinging, this man stocked and slapped him, like full on open fist, smacked that bitch. Like, he was mad too. It was a very heated exchange. It was in the good game, the handshake line, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, he got suspended. So, Zach, do you think this was the right decision?
Well, I think all handshake lines should be banned. Like, no one should show any camaraderie, after games.
Wait, is this
But
sarcasm? Because
yeah,
they're okay. Because there are people that think this. Yeah, that's why I was like, okay.
This was a textbook. Like, first off, I think suspension 5 games. That perfect. There were people calling to be fired. Like, he shouldn't be fired from that, but it was fun because he was smart enough where he was throwing and he like opened up his hand.
He did, yeah, he
which
did.
like was saving because if it was a full punch, still wouldn't gotten fired.
Dude, because he had a good angle. He could have hurt that dude.
He could have. He was going down. I mean, he's a big dude. So so no. And then, of course, there's all the people like, we just need to get rid of handshake lines. Like, no. Like, what? That's ridiculous. So, that was my little shtick there. But I think it was the right call. I mean, obviously, a crazy sequence. Got people talking about college basketball, which, I mean, don't really need this time of year, but it's always fun because it was like maybe a week early. Because this was really the weekend. Because even that first weekend after the Super Bowl, you're still kind of in Super Bowl hangover. Like, oh man, I miss football. Like,
like what's gonna happen next year?
Yeah, it's a big like college basketball Saturday, but it's really that next one because it gives me enough time to truly be like, oh, okay, it's college basketball season now. It's almost March, so got to talk a little bit sooner. So I think it was the right call. Yeah, suspend him, but I mean, don't fire him. Let him coach in the postseason.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it was fine. It was fitting. Everybody that thought he should get fired is a softest baby shit. Heated exchange happens. It's sports. Even if you're a coach, I don't think that puts him above anybody else. Yes, he should be an example for his players, but at the same time, if I was a player, I would want my coach to stand up for us or stand up for whatever he believes in.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and all the Michigan players had his back 100%. So that was good to see. But overall, there really isn't anything else to it. I think the suspension was fine. He should stay on board. I'm excited to see what Juwan can do at Michigan. It hasn't been that long. They're not great this year, but we'll see. And speaking of though, that crazy weekend, which was this past Saturday, where 7 of the top 10 teams all lost on one day. It was nuts. I think just to name a few, Arkansas beat Kentucky.
Yep.
Auburn lost to Tennessee. Who else?
Gonzaga lost to St. Mary's. Purdue lost to
Michigan State.
Kansas lost to Baylor, but Baylor was 10.
Texas Tech lost to TCU.
Yeah, because they were 9.
Yeah, dude, that was an electric win for us. But yeah, dude, the biggest one, of course, though, even though that is just electric as it is to read off as a stat, was Gonzaga losing to St. Mary's. And I know St. Mary's is a good team. They're ranked. They're obviously a good team, even though they play in the West Coast Conference. But what does this loss mean for Gonzaga come tournament time?
You see, I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's kind of one of these funny things where it's like, oh, all these 7 of the top 10 teams lost. Like, there's going to be so much change in the rankings. I don't really know if there's going to be much change.
Yeah, not really. There really won't.
Who are you going to, they literally all lost. Like, who are you going to, rearrange? Who are you going to move up? There will be some, slight changes. And I was trying to think. I was thinking through all of them individually. Like, is there one that, really scares me or been like, oh, no, this bad? I don't think there's much of a reaction needed for the majority of these. And I think that's kind of Gonzaga. This might kind of be good for Gonzaga getting that
a wake-up call, yeah.
Yeah, it could be good for them. And, I mean, St. Mary's, they've always been a good team. I know, I feel like they beat Gonzaga, a decent amount. It was at St. Mary's. I mean, it's been a while since Gonzaga's lost, to a West Coast team. It's been, over a year, which is an insane stat. So, I think it's just kind of one of those things. St. Mary's is a good team, kind of, it was on the road. So I don't think it means a ton for Gonzaga. I think they'll still be the number 1 overall seed. I think they'll be fine. And it's just kind of moving forward. I don't think a huge reaction is warranted for any of these, which is not great because, I mean, we're supposed to have all these crazy reactions. Yeah. But, these headline grabbing things is Gonzaga's season over? No. But
no, I agree.
I don't think it's much.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely something to take note of when you're looking at filling out your bracket and whatnot. But like you said, I think maybe losing could have been a good thing for Gonzaga, especially losing to a team like St. Mary's, who's in the West Coast Conference, because there are a lot of people to say, for a lot of people shit on Gonzaga for their conference play, even though they're a number 1 team. And the fact of the matter is they average winning those conference games by like 25 points. It's ridiculous.
Gonzaga -10 was a huge lock.
Yeah,
not the St.
exactly.
Mary's game, whoever it was before, against a good San Francisco team.
Yeah, San Francisco's a tournament team. They're a tournament team. Yeah. Like I think the West Coast Conference is massively hated on, like wildly underrated. There's actually a few good teams in there, and it's usually San Francisco, St. Mary's, and Gonzaga. Those are usually the three culprits. But yeah, I don't think it's too much to freak out over. They're going to be fine. Gonzaga's going to do Gonzaga shit.
Yeah, I was going to say no one stays up. That's like the West Coast bias is a thing. And we see it with the Pac-12, who's a Power 5 conference. So what do you think about like a mid-major West Coast conference? Like you're just never going to believe in it. And is it the top conference out there? Absolutely not. But there's good teams. There's going to be at least 3, possibly 4 tournament teams from them.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's, they're good. But yeah, I'm not going to stay up, past my bedtime. I got to get up early. Unfortunately, I wish I could, but West Coast bias is the thing.
No, it definitely is. And I think too, if people just like watch Gonzaga, you can see they are one of truly the most impressive teams in the sense of like how they are coached. What's his name? Drew. Oh, damn.
Drew Timmy.
Yeah, no, not Timmy, the coach. Drew.
Oh.
Who's Gonzaga's head coach? Oh, God, it's
Few.
like Mark Few. Yes, I was gonna say Drew Few. Damn it.
Yeah, you combine Drew Timmy and Mark Few.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, like Mark Few is just super impressive to me. I always think he's one of the best coaches in the country. Like the way they run their offense, like the stuff they do with the athletes they have. Like if you think about this in like an NBA draft kind of thing, Gonzaga's maybe going to send 1 or 2 guys to the league. Look at Kentucky. Kentucky's sending their entire roster to the league probably. So it's like they do more with what little they have. And I know that's kind of saying a lot because they still get top recruits as Gonzaga, like Chet Holmgren, literally the number 1 recruit. But Kentucky they get more. They get more. And Gonzaga just does it, bro. So I think they'll be fine. And then also one thing I got to say from this past weekend is fuck Arkansas for blowing -2.5. If you didn't see it, they were up by 5 against Kentucky with 5 seconds left. All they needed to do was not let in a garbage time 3. And what do? They just let him dribble on by, doop, 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 take a shot, banks it in, and I lose the spread by half a point. So fuck that.
Yeah, that's terrible. I was so close to picking Arkansas. Like that was the right play. They were covering the entire time and just like speechless. I didn't even lose money and speechless. Like
I should have gone on the money line, bro.
You should have, but it's always
it's always like that though. Afterwards, it's always like that.
It's like, wow, well, you could do money line, but that's not as fun.
Yeah, but we got a few tournaments starting upcoming. We got the Horizon League and the Patriot League tournament starting tomorrow. The bigger conferences are soon to follow after that. I know the Big 12, I believe, starts like March. When is it? I think like March 10th-ish.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah, but exciting stuff coming up. So with that said, let's go ahead and get into some early tournament predictions. So my first thing I want to get out of the way is our favorites to win. Not necessarily who you're picking, because everything changes when you see that bracket. Yeah. Everything changes when you see the matchups.
For good reason, yep.
Exactly, and it should, based off matchups. But who are your maybe 3-4 teams that you are zoning in on to be your bracket champion?
You see, so you took a couple of mine. So I only did one, added kind of one similar. So I'll save that one for the end, and then we can kind of transition into some of yours, I guess.
Okay.
But I like Villanova. This is just kind of one of those years, in the Big East, they're probably gonna be like a 3 seed. I
think they are right now.
That's kind of what I'm seeing, depending on things that can obviously change. So that this would just be a good spot for them, if what we learned from this weekend is this tournament is going to be wide open, like I cannot wait. And so when it comes to so I want to kind of look at teams that, are, have a veteran lineup and have a coach that's been there, done that. And Villanova fits that. They're not going to be a super fun pick. It's not necessarily they're going to do it, but definitely worth a flyer, I think. I think even I was looking not too long ago. I think like their odds aren't super high to win it all, which is kind of telling too. Like maybe they, could make a run because
Villanova's never a bad pick. Never.
Yeah. So that's kind of one I'm kind of keeping an eye on. We're gonna see. Arkansas, I think this depends a lot on the SEC tournament. They might be a 5 or a 6, and if they're a 5, that terrifies me because
I think they end up as a 5.
they'll probably end up as a 5, but they're just so hot right now. So if they can keep being hot, like maybe it's a little too early, but also it might be just at the right time. So Arkansas, that's kind of one I'm keeping an eye on. Might be a fun little flyer.
They scare right now in Joe Lenardi's bracket. TCU is projected to play Arkansas, and I'm like, all right, GG's, G's. Like, no, I don't want that, dude.
So then, got to get one of the 1 seeds, and fresh off a huge loss to Colorado, I like Arizona a lot. I still think, they're a very talented team. Out of the 1 seeds, they're one you can maybe get some better value. Gonzaga is going to be, up at the top. So will probably Kentucky can't. There'll be plenty of teams above Arizona for a 1 seed, but when you watch them play, like they're very fun to watch. They like them, and then one of your teams are like two of the when they're moving, when things are going the right way, they are the 2 most fun teams.
Who's the team? You can go ahead and say it.
Auburn.
Oh yeah, no, I think Auburn.
Yeah. So like Arizona and Auburn, when they're like moving and their offense, their pace, their everything, it's just fun to watch. So Arizona, that I could see them making a run as well. And then this last team is one we share that has been getting a pretty good amount of hate lately, but they have a veteran coach. Yeah, he's a veteran coach, a more than veteran coach who just got his first Big East title. A very veteran team. And a team that just keeps winning. They don't care. Yeah, they win some close games, but they still win. And they're going to be battle tested for this tournament. And I think you could get some good odds. They're going to be, maybe a 2, depending on how they do.
Yeah, anywhere from a 2 to a 4 right now.
Yeah, like depending on how they do in the Big East tournament, it's to be seen. So I see Providence going one of 2 ways. And I think it's going to be the other way. But the first way, which I really hope doesn't happen because I like Providence, they're going to lose. Like if they're 2 seed, they'll lose to like the 10 seed, and everyone's going to keep chirping like, oh, blah, blah, blah. You had a terrible year. You were lucky. Obviously, it could happen because, Ohio State lost to Oral Roberts last year. Anything can happen.
Yeah, it's March. Yeah,
but that's why I think they're going to make a run. I think they're going to go far, which I think is a lot more likely. So, they're battle tested, they're veterans, they're ready to win, and they've been winning. So, I like Providence a lot.
Yeah, I love because I also am on Providence as one of my teams, so I'll just piggyback. I agree. They are electric to watch. They somehow find a way to win every game, which is great for the tournament. Like you said,
magic never hurt nobody.
Exactly. My only thing is hopefully they haven't run out of magic. But no, I completely agree with that sentiment that there's no gray area. It's going to be black or white, like a second round exit or Final Four. That's really what I see. And I wouldn't be too surprised if this is their year, dude. The Friars are on fire, bro. People got to give them their damn respect because they deserve it this year. So yeah, Providence is
24-3, like 24-3.
Yeah, exactly. They just don't lose, bro. My question is, I'm a little bit nervous about Arizona. I don't know Arizona as much. I haven't really bet on the Pac-12 basketball as much. So part of me is like, I know they're fucking good. Like, I know they're really good, but I'm just nervous because I haven't really seen them play, seen their matchups too much. So I don't know if you're liking them, that makes me feel a little bit better about them. So
I've been on the wrong side of their games very often, especially early on this year.
Yeah, me too, dude. Also in the tournament, Arizona seems to always be the team that I just never know what to do with because they have the history. They could win a national title. But they also could crash and burn. It's just so much headaches. But all right, those were your teams, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So mine, first off, like we just talked about, was Providence, and then again, like we teased a little bit, is Auburn. I know Auburn has dropped a couple games. Like they lost to Tennessee, they just lost another one recently. But I really don't care that they're dropping games. That's fine. They're playing good teams when they are. And also, I'd rather them get these losses out the way. But as Zach said, when this team is playing, when they're clicking, they are one of, if not the most fun team to watch this season. They have just been electric. And I'm hoping that it's going to carry over to the tournament. I think Auburn's always been a decent, like a top 25 fringe, top 25 team for the past 5 years. But this is like their golden team. This is the best team they've had probably in the time that I've been a college basketball fan. So I like the Tigers, which is weird for me to say because I hate Auburn overall. I just don't like Auburn sports. But anyway, that's another conversation. And then I got Kentucky is another pick, which always makes me a little bit nervous because they are a blue blood. They're going to be a public favorite. A lot of the squares are going to be riding them. But my thing with Kentucky is they seem to figure it out no matter how young their roster is, which it is. It is always very young. But Calipari, he gets those boys in shape, and they know what to do come tournament time. They always figure it out. And they have, even though they just dropped a game this past weekend, they're a top 10 team with like 90% freshmen. They're a good team. So I think they're definitely in the running to make a run. And then my last team, which is a little bit weird, is Texas Tech. It's weird because they just lost to unranked TCU. My Horned Frogs, shout out, baby. Go Frogs.
It is for you.
Yeah, of course. But I think just overall watching them throughout the course of the season, because I follow Big 12 really like heavily, and they just seem to be one of the most like, what's the word I'm looking for? Most put together. One of the most put together complete teams where I think they can get out of tough scenarios. They've beaten proven teams. They've proven themselves. So that's another pick, even though they're a 3 seed or projected 3 seed right now, I'm going with. But yeah, those are really my top 4, which scares me because only one of them is a 1 seed. So I don't know. None of us said Gonzaga though, or Baylor.
Yeah. You see, which those I was trying to think, a little more value because anytime I do my bracket, I rarely do a 1 seed and I'd never do the number 1 overall seed. Little story. I was sophomore year of college, went on spring break, went on a cruise in Mexico, and about Thursday, I finally went to a resort that had Wi-Fi, and it was like the Thursday of the pick'em games, so I had to rush through my bracket, and I just decided to pick the number 1 seed. I didn't watch a ton of college basketball that season. I knew enough, but kind of just made my picks real quick, and I was like, you know what? I never do the number 1 overall seed. I'll do it. It was the year of Virginia, and they lost to UMBC in the first round and just destroyed my bracket because I just rushed through it. I'm like, okay, I finally have Wi-Fi. I can do this, get these in. I was I'm just going to do Virginia, and watching that game. Not being able to enjoy that game was brutal. Like that could be a moment where you're like,
no, you're right. Yeah, exactly.
It's going to happen. Like the 16 seed's going to win because it wasn't even close. So
luckily, they dominated.
Luckily, the fact that it was close, I could actually just be like, all right, I didn't put much time into this bracket anyways. The least amount of time I've ever put into a bracket. But anyway, story time is over. I don't do a ton of 1 seeds, especially if we're going to bet on them. Arizona maybe, Auburn maybe. Like, all of them could easily win. But I love that you put Texas Tech, and that's why I didn't write Texas Tech down. But I love them. Like, their defense is very good. They're
very sound.
They're complete. Got great sound defense. Been playing in, I think, the top.
It is. It's
gotta be the top conference.
It is.
Like it's the Big 12. So they're kind of fun too. Like they go on these runs where they're moving fast. They're going. So it's.
Yeah, I think they can beat anybody in the country on their day.
Oh, absolutely. So
on their day,
Texas Tech could be a value. They're going to be a top 10 team. So we'll see, what the odds with the seeding is, but they might be a 3. Villanova might be a 3. I like both of those. Providence might even be a 3. I like that one too. So
I would rather Providence be a 3, honestly.
Me too.
I would rather avoid that. 4 even.
Yeah, avoid that 7-10 game at all costs. Because if they put like, I'm trying to think who could be like a 7.
Dude, right now, fucking Boise State is a projected 7 seed, which I think is a joke.
I'm not too worried about. But like, if Rutgers is like a 10,
win, dude.
Or like
Rutgers
Creighton,
hot.
Like Rutgers, Creighton, maybe they're like a 10, and they beat the 7 seed. All of a sudden, it's like, okay, now it's Creighton against Providence.
Yeah, which is a different conversation. Yeah,
I don't know if they do that with it being like both in the Big East, but you never know. So it's like, okay, this could be tough. If they win this game, I think it'll be smooth sailing, but that 7-10 game's always tough against a 2 seed.
Yeah, I just going back to your sad story with the Virginia pick. I've also had a couple bad bracket goes where literally 2 back-to-back years I had Duke winning it all the year they lost to Mercer. And then it was like a 3 in the 4 against the 14. They lost first round. And then literally the next year I had Missouri winning it all and they lost to Norfolk State in the first round. And I'm like, "Oh, all right, sick." Like just 2 in a row. I was like, I just don't even want to do basketball, bro.
You're talking about the Missouri game?
Yeah, Missouri Norfolk State, I think it was.
It was.
Yeah, Norfolk State.
A young middle schooler by the name of Zach Krieger was at that game.
No way.
Decked out in his Mizzou gear.
No.
Because I'm from Missouri. I was living in Omaha at the time. They came in Omaha. I was super excited.
Oh.
That was Mizzou's year. And
dude. That's why I picked him.
I didn't talk for a week. Like I was just dead. I was like, I think that was my first heartbreak. Like first true heartbreak. I was just sitting there all decked out in my Mizzou gear. And they just lost to Norfolk State. But sitting watching that game, they did not miss a single shot. I don't remember watching them miss a shot. I thought the same thing right after I got done watching, and I still remember it to this day. They did not miss a shot. Kyle Quinn ended up going to the NBA and playing, and not too bad, but that was the worst. Never mind. We're good. The reason, as we were talking, if you saw me doing one of these, I was switching to the Wyoming game, and I just glanced up, and I thought it was San Diego State 33, Wyoming 22, but it's 23-22, so no worries. Also, Hofstra won by 5, so
brutal,
heartbreaking loss there, but
brutal.
Getting out of the way. Small card, only had 2 plays. But anyways, let's get into some Cinderella teams. We had the favorite. We had our fun. I'll let you start this time. I started last time.
All right, yeah. This is always a little bit more fun to talk about the Cinderella, who we think can make a run. Now, I don't want to say concrete that these are our picks or our upset picks because again, we said, it all relies on the matchup. It all relies on who they play, what the games are. So, but my main one, and actually, I'll wait till the end for this one because I know you have it too. So
also just to kind of preface, I kept writing looking up at yours, looking up, and I just kept realizing we're just writing the exact same one. So I tried.
That's a good sign though.
I had to get creative on some of these, so I might not have the best answers, except that it's a team that I like and a team that you did not pick. So
hey, that's not a bad thing. Okay, well then I'll go ahead and since we both have it, I'll go ahead and say my biggest Cinderella, and I think the only 15 seed that has a chance of pulling off an Oral Roberts type game is Montana State as a 15 seed. I think they're right now, like the low seeds, 14, 15, 16, they're not really probably going to change. They're where they're projected is probably where they're going to end up. And Montana State right now is at 15. And I think they're really the only team that can, I forgot who the other 15 seeds were, but I think they're really the only one.
Yeah.
Exactly. Here, wait. I'll pull it up real quick just to have because I didn't go off of Lenardi's. I went off of this bracket that's based off of bracket matrices, average plus necessary adjustments. I don't know, advanced stats.
I went off Lenardi.
Fair enough. But it's like Montana State, Jacksonville State, Colgate, and Towson are the projected 15
Colgate,
seeds.
I saw. Colgate, I've bet on Colgate a couple times this year.
Here and there.
They're not bad, but they made the tournament last year as like a 14 seed. So, they've been there.
They actually were close last year, I think. It's the 14 seed.
Yeah, it was Arkansas was the 3.
Yeah.
They played them to the wire, I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering right. But yeah, I mean Montana State, I don't know what to say. They're a really good team. There's my expert analysis.
That's what I'm saying. It's
really good.
I don't know how to deep dive analysis on Montana State because I really can't tell you that much. But I can tell you I've bet on them a few times, and when I do follow the scores and shit, they win games as underdogs a lot, and they're gonna be an underdog in this one. So that's my biggest one, and I know Zach's on that one as well.
Points, at least the points.
I'm taking them on the spread, whoever they play, no matter who. And then my next one is honestly, and this one's kind of broad, but any of the current projected 12 seeds. And I know we may be looking at different brackets, but for me, the projected 12 seeds I'm looking at right now is San Diego State, Rutgers, Michigan, and South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. And South Dakota State, not as much, but I'm looking more so towards Rutgers, Memphis, San Diego State, potentially even Indiana. I don't think Indiana as much, but I do like Rutgers to make a run. They're my favorite of that bunch because they have like 4 ranked wins in a row.
Oh,
so, yeah, Rutgers, they're hot at the right time. They're playing well, playing a lot better than they did at the beginning of the season. I like them. I know you have them too, right?
Yeah, and they were great last year too in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
I think they ended up losing to Houston, but I think they still should have beaten Houston, like at the 2-10 game. So I don't know if they'll be a 12. It could be 11-10, but I mean if they get out early in the Big Ten tournament, it'll probably be a 12, which is honestly not a bad spot. Like it's a better spot than the 11. I think the 10 is pretty nice, but the 12's pretty good if you're one of those teams where it's like, okay, you can actually, pull off an upset here. So
yeah, the 5-12 is the most common upset on the bracket.
Yeah, so I like them a lot. I like South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits. They're pretty good. That was actually one of them that I was like, okay, great. I just wrote South Dakota State, and I see that you have SDCU. So glad we're at least a little bit opposites there because they've been good.
Oh, wait, I guess they're both SDSU. Yeah, I did San Diego State, but they both work, honestly.
All of a sudden, you said San Diego State, and I was like, oh, bet. And then you still brought up South Dakota State. So I guess,
No, bro, go ahead. I mean, if you got South Dakota State, you got them.
But no, I think they could do it. I've watched them a little bit more than Montana State, but not a whole lot more. But they've shown that they can win good games. Their division's pretty good. Like their conference, North Dakota State's always good. They play in a solid conference. So
yeah, with picks like this, it's kind of like it feels like we're talking out of our ass half the time. But the fact of the matter is like
it's
if you watch enough, if you watch college basketball, if you gamble on college basketball every day,
feel. Like
you get a feel. Yeah, you really do. And
I could have dove deep, like an hour before this podcast start, looking at all the advanced statistics, but that's not the kind of guy I am. So
we don't need to do that.
Yeah, we don't need that. I don't want to bore you. Yeah, you just look. How can you not bet on a Jackrabbit? Come on now.
That is a sick mascot. I'll give you that.
It is
pretty cool. And then my other sleeper pick, I got 3 more. So I got Creighton. We already mentioned them a little bit. Creighton right now is a projected 10 to 11 seed. So I think either spot would be great for them. Honestly, whoever they play, I'm probably going to be picking Creighton as a first round upset.
It depends what Creighton team shows up.
You're right, dude. You are so right.
I've watched a good amount of Creighton being up in Omaha, and I actually went to the last Georgetown game where they covered the 10.5 somehow because Patrick Ewing got a tech with like under a minute left, and so they got 2 free throws to actually cover. So that was amazing. But they are so obviously they're great when they're great, and I know that's another expert analysis there. They're great when they're great, but the way they play, they turn the ball over so much, and so they allow points off turnovers, which is never a good sign in March. And then they try so many alley-oops. Like I've never seen a team in 2022 do as many alley-oops as Creighton does.
They got athletes though. I'll give them that.
They do, but it's almost to the point where it's not exciting anymore. I'm like, alley-oops need to be exciting. I just watched it, but that's the 5th alley-oop this game.
It's like Lob City, but college. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like there's 3 minutes left in the first half. I've seen this 5 times. Like, come on, go cover. You're only up 6. Like, come on. So if they're actually doing it and they're not turning the ball over as much and they're making their shots, which they can do because they got a lot of shooters, so they can beat anyone. They really can. But it's just, which team's going to show up.
No, you're right. Yeah, it seems like every time I bet on them, they either win by 20 or lose by 20. So yeah, there's no in between for Creighton. And then another team for me is Wake Forest. They're also right now a projected double-digit seed. They're going to be probably anywhere from 7 to 11. They're kind of one of those teams that could end up anywhere.
Yeah,
But
really going to depend on the ACC tournament, which
yeah,
is kind of open.
I think they could
It's
make a
Duke,
run too. Yeah,
it's Duke, and then the field.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, and Wake Forest has been playing pretty well this year. Like probably the best year they've had, at least in recent history. They're definitely not back to their glory days yet, but still, I mean, getting in the tournament as an ACC team is big. And then last but not least, I have Michigan State, who right now, this isn't a super big Cinderella pick, but Michigan State is a projected 5 to 7 seed, probably a 6. And I don't know why I said it at the beginning, but I'm a sucker for Sparty. Every tournament, and I'm always just like, oh, they're gonna turn it on.
This is their year.
Like I don't know why. I just always am like they're gonna figure it out. They're
Tom
gonna do
Izzo.
it. Like I had, yeah, exactly. It's Izzo, bro. I had them in the Sweet 16 last year, and they lost the play-in game, and I was like, oh, brutal.
Dude, that playing game was amazing. So we did me and a bunch of my buddies from college, we did one of those survival pools where it's like, all right, you have to pick one team, and if they win, you keep going until there's only one person, and you can't pick the same team twice. So a lot of fun. We decided because
Cool.
we had like they're a lot of fun. Like I'm excited to do more this year. So they're more popular with like NFL and like football seasons, but we did one and we had this huge like debate. It's like, how do we do like the March Madness? Because like you can't do the first 4 games because if all of a sudden you lose, like you don't get to experience the fun. But at the same time, like it's part of the tournament. So we did, all right, everyone has to make a pick on it, but you're actually able to buy back in. So it's like you don't have to, but it's like, you know, if you want to do another $10, that's all we did was $10. So it was like, all right, another buy-in. So like half of the people picked Michigan State, and I was the only one on UCLA.
Oh.
And that was one of the best nights of my life. In that group chat and everything, just started blaring UCLA the song and just was going off. It was fantastic. And then I just kept betting UCLA,
They went what to the Elite 8, right?
Yeah. It was unbelievable. Or they went to the Final Four, didn't they?
Oh no, you're right. It was the Final Four. Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, and they almost beat Gonzaga, but then Jalen Suggs hit that half court shot.
It has
man,
that too, dude.
That was amazing. So yeah, that was like right when Betting on the Rocks was getting its start. So I was like, this is forever a UCLA podcast because they just kept covering, and I'm like, I'm making so much money right now. So yeah, I'll get into some of mine now. I won't touch on too much because you did Wake Forest. They're one of mine too. Love Wake Forest. I bet on them a ton this year. They're just they're pretty good at everything. They're
wagging.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. So let's see, Wyoming. That's another team I just cannot stop betting on and just love. And Lunardi right now, they're same bracket as Arizona, and they're like a 9 seed. So I really hope that's not a thing. Arizona, Wyoming. But
that'd be brutal.
I love Wyoming. I'd probably bet the points, whatever it would be. And they are, I don't see the score right now. Anyways,
I can check for you while you go on.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's not showing right now. It's just showing a player. I will continue with. We touched on them a little bit earlier. San Francisco. If they get like a 13, there's a like 13 over 4 seed. San Francisco, I think, could do it. They could be a 12, could be 11. Talked about them. They're a very, very talented, very good team, especially if they play kind of out west and a team has to come play them. And then just another team out west, Colorado State.
That's a good one.
They just had a big win over Utah State, who's a very good team. The Mountain West this year has been very good.
It's so underrated. Yeah, dude.
They've been very good. Like
I think Boise State is mad overrated, but San Diego State, dude, Wyoming, Colorado State,
Utah State, like they've got some teams. So Colorado State's done very well there. So like them to be a potential, upset pick. I could see them get to the Sweet 16 somehow, depending on how things turn out. So
as long as they don't end up as like an 8 seed against a 1 seed in round 2.
Yeah, if they're an 8 seed, because they're kind of in that range. If they're an 8 seed, yeah, probably not. But you never know. So
it's so fun, dude. It's so fun to theorize.
It is, especially when we don't even have the brackets yet. But I can't wait to have a bracket. We're so close.
I know.
But I'll get into some of my overrated teams now because there's one that is going to go against everything I just said about how you want a good coach and a veteran team. And I also went against them this weekend, and it went against all my logic, and that's Michigan State. So I should not, history is kind of saying that I should just, rock with Michigan State, but I just can't trust them. It's tough because they do have Tom Izzo, so he's always you got to respect that. But at the same time, just the way they played this year, they had a huge win against Purdue. But that was a textbook Michigan State spot that I saw but didn't take. I decided to take the other side, but it is what it is. So Michigan State, just not really seeing it. Houston's a team that maybe I'm going to talk out my ass a little bit. I haven't watched a ton of Houston, but just from last year to kind of just some of the scores I've seen, I just don't think. And if they're going to be a 5 seed, I think whatever 12 seed plays them, I think that's a huge spot for Houston to take the L. You might know more about Houston than I do, so if I'm wrong, let me know.
I'm on the edge. I watched a little bit of Houston. I think they're a good team, not as good as they've been in the past 3 years. Because the past 3 years, I think they were truly a top 10 team.
Oh yeah,
but this year, I don't know. They kind of scare me. I don't know what I'm going to do with Houston. They're one of those teams where if they're a 5 seed, they could get upset by 12 just because of that spot.
That's what I think, and that's kind of where I'm seeing them is around that 5. So that kind of plays a huge factor too. Where I'm like, all right, whichever 12 seed goes, because we just talked about all the 12 seeds we love. And then Iowa State, they kind of came into the season being, could potentially be a top team, and now they're kind of looking at 6, 7 seed, and I don't know. They don't look. They play in the Big 12, so they're obviously deserving of a tournament, being a tournament team, but I don't really see it a lot. And then this last one, I don't know if overrated is the right word because they have kind of turned it on and they have a big game today. I don't actually know when that starts. It probably started now, and that's Texas.
I think they're up right now against Baylor, which is good because if they're up, I'm going to live bet the shit out of Baylor.
Yeah, they're up 22-18 right now with 4.5 left in the first half. So,
I'm going to live bet the shit out of Baylor.
So they're maybe not overrated, but just very hit or miss.
They choke. I'll tell you that.
And they're a program that's been known to choke. So a team I'm putting zero trust in. And so
especially with the first year head coach, Chris Beard,
yep.
I don't know. I'm a big Texas hater as a TCU student.
Absolutely.
I hate everything about them. So don't listen to me on Texas because I'll just shit on them all day.
Yeah, which is always fun. So those are kind of my 4 overrated teams. So what do you have?
I went a little different direction. One team for me, and this is probably my biggest, or I guess my 2 biggest would be Tennessee and Illinois, which isn't a super popular pick for overrated. A lot of people seem to be liking the Volunteers and the Illini. Every time I've liked the Illini, like last year in the tournament, they just disappoint. They have disappointed. Same thing with Tennessee. They look like they have the, what's the word I'm looking for? The materials. They look like they're put together. They look like they have what it takes, but then they don't. They just don't. And I know they just got a big win against Auburn. I think they're both capable of beating good teams, but I think they have a little bit of a tendency to play to their opponent's level. So if they're going to be playing a lower seed, I wouldn't be surprised if it's going to be a close game just because that's just their style of play. And another big one for me, and if we talked any about college football, I'm not sure if we talked about USC at all together this year, but you would know that I'm very anti-USC just in general because I think they're always overrated because of their namesake.
Yep.
And I think, again, USC, even though they're projected 6-ish seed right now, I think they're overrated. I don't see them making any kind of run in the tournament. They've dropped games to Pac-12 teams that they just shouldn't lose to. And then another big one is Boise State. We just talked about the Mountain West, and I do think the Mountain West is severely underrated. They deserve more respect. But Boise State is a projected 7 seed right now. That's disgusting. If Boise State was a 13 seed, I would still not want anything to do with them. I want absolutely nothing to do with the Broncos. Whoever they're playing, I'm taking the under and the other team because Boise State is incapable of putting the ball in the basket. And then last but not least is Miami of Florida. I think they don't really have too many big expectations. I mean, the fact is they're really projected, I think, like what, 9 or 10 or 11.
8 or 9.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah. So they really don't have huge expectations, but they just never get the job done. They can't close games. That's my thing with them. They can't close games. Recently we just had our admin parlay fucking bust because they blew a 7-point lead in the last minute and a half. Brutal. But
that was unbelievable.
I know, dude. I literally, that was the worst loss of them all. But yeah, they can't close games, and that's going to be huge come tournament time. So that's what I got for my overrated teams.
I literally put in our chat. I was like, I was just at a bar. They were up like 8 with 30, like with a minute left, and I just walked to another bar and checked, and they lost. Like, what happened?
It's like what? Yeah, like it's like that TikTok sound. What the fuck happened?
Yeah. Like it's not even that they didn't cover. Like they just straight up lost too.
Yeah.
Like so unbelievable. So with these, I agree with you a lot on Tennessee. They're just you nailed it around the head. Like they're always good. They
have the facilities.
They have the makeup, but it just never happens. And they're like I have a hard time getting behind them from what I've seen.
Yeah.
Boise State, not a bad team by any means, but to have them projected over Wyoming, over Colorado State, like what? Like what are we doing? San Diego State, even like what's going on? Like what have you seen to make Boise State over those teams?
Yeah, I don't understand that. Yeah.
Miami, similar to Texas, just one of the most volatile teams. Like just I was kind of surprised to see that they were even, in bracket
in the tournament. No, you're right. Yeah, like, Miami, I think they're barely getting in.
Yeah, like they're because of their name, they'll probably get, and if they win like 1 or 2 games in the ACC tournament, they're probably in. They'll get, a 9-10 seed probably, just based off kind of name value. So agree with those 3 a ton. USC, I understand, but I just, with how the Pac-12 made a run last year, I'm kind of thinking like I'm kind of feeling the Pac-12 a little bit. Maybe I'm sipping the Kool-Aid a little too much. And then they still have Mobley, who's good, and they just beat Oregon, who's been surging. So that
Oregon
was one of my bets.
Yeah.
So that was one of my Saturday bets, which was great. USC plus 4.5 smacked. And so I kind of like USC, but also I kind of get it. And I'm not a big USC guy either, but I mean, also if they're going to be a 6 or 7 seed, it's kind of hard to be overrated as a 6 or 7 seed, but also we've been talking about a lot of 6 or 7 seeds. So,
yeah,
myself included. And then Illinois, I like Illinois a lot, maybe a little bit more this year over last year, just because I think there was more of a spotlight on them last year, like deservedly so. Like they look,
that's a good point.
They looked unbelievable. So this year it's kind of one of those. I've kind of heard the theory with Kansas a lot. It's like Kansas is always a 1 seed and loses. Now they might be a 2 or maybe even a 3. It's like, okay, this might be the year that Kansas can do it because they're going a little under the radar. Obviously they just lost, so who knows? So I kind of see that a little bit, but it's very tough with the Big Ten teams because they do just kind of they're all above average, like all pretty good above average, but they just kind of beat each other up and they just kind of play, and they can beat any Big Ten team or they can lose to any Big Ten team, and so I don't really know what to do. That's why they're not in one of my teams to look at, but I do like Illinois this year. If they can actually put it together, if they will, I don't know, but I do like Illinois.
That's a good point though, because last year you're right, they had a huge spotlight on them.
Just won the Big Ten tournament.
Everybody was on Illinois. Yep. Yeah, because they truly were, in terms of like how we talked about Auburn is like the most electric team to watch when they're on.
Were fun to watch.
Oh, Illinois was amazing to watch last year. Yeah, so I that is actually a good point that I didn't really consider, but. For me, dude, Illinois has just done me dirty too many times.
It's tough.
They've done me dirty too many times. Like I just can't rely on them anymore.
The Big Ten, like it kind of came out last year because the Big Ten, it was like this is the best conference ever, and they all kind of lost. And I think there is a little validity to it. I mean, it kind of came out was like this big joke, like, oh, we just beat each other up. They just beat each other up, but like, I kind of get it. Like I kind of
it's a thing. It is. It's the same thing in football. Big Ten is always like that.
Yeah, like they just. They're physical. They're good. All like very good teams, and they're deep. And so it's just constant matchups, and they just go and battle, and it's makes for these great games. But then, get to the tournament, you don't know what team's going to show up.
Yeah.
So I won't be betting on them, or betting on them to like win it all, but wouldn't surprise me at the same time.
Yeah, if they made a run at least.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's really all we got mostly for our little teaser March Madness. I guarantee we'll have more in detail predictions and whatnot.
Cannot wait.
Yeah,
It's
once
a great
the
time
bracket.
of the year.
Oh, god damn it. We got a Russian robot in our comments. I'm trying to block the user and it's giving me an error message. Damn you, Russians.
Oh,
all right,
no.
Anyway. Especially right now, damn you, Russians. Damn.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
no.
anyway, though, we've gone on kind of a little bit longer than expected. So we'll go ahead and save the Lakers talk for Thursday because I guarantee the Lakers are still going to be struggling in 3 days. Nothing is going to change in 3 days. So we can talk about the Lakers' struggles then. But for now, let's go ahead and hop in to some love it or loathe it to wrap things up. Now, Zach, I know you've been a guest on the podcast multiple times, but have you ever done love it or loathe it?
I was actually about to text you. I'm not sure. So it's a statement, and then I just say if I love it or loathe it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and explain it just because I also typically explain it just for the audience as well. So love it or loathe it. Essentially, we're gonna take turns. I'll go first, firing off to you, and then you'll read off to me. Just what we have here, and if I say something. So, for example, the first one is Kyler Murray's contract extension. If you love it, you love it. You talk about why you love it. If you loathe it, then you just say you loathe it, give like a short little sentence as to why it's fuck that, and then move on,
All right. Now, this is going to be fun because this is where the bias comes out. And I love bias.
Yeah, exactly. It's good to get a little opinionated.
Bringing it back to baseball. That's another thing I love about baseball. All the bias from the announcers.
Oh, it makes it electric.
I love it. And when you bet on a team and like you can pick, do I want to watch the home team or the away team? And you pick whichever team you bet on, and you just listen to them, and they're on your side, and it's fantastic. Like more sports should adopt that. That's the thing I love about baseball.
I love that.
Embrace the bias, like it's great.
Yeah, especially if it's on both sides. Like they have the option for both. Yeah. All right, though. First thing we got. Oh wait, let's get that little love it or loathe it banner going. Oh yeah. All right. So first thing we got for you is, like I said, Kyler Murray. After his weird Instagram shenanigans, deleting all of his posts, he has released a lengthy statement essentially asking the Cardinals for a contract extension.
I'm glad. I love that you actually said that what it was about because it was lengthy.
Yeah.
I had a tweet about it of my statement on their statement, and it was just a meme of like super small writing.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I'm going to be honest. I did not read his entire statement.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah.
I'm
no shot.
I love that you did that. I love it as well because here's the bias. I have him in multiple dynasty fantasy football leagues, so I would love a contract extension. This whole situation is just crazy. It
is
fun. And I mean, there's something to it. Like he's electric on the field, but there's also just plays that he makes that's like, what are you doing? And then body language is a huge thing. Like he's always by himself. He's kind of pouting down.
He does.
And now he's doing this. So it's like, I don't know. But I love it. Hopefully he gets extended. It is fun to watch. And it's also just fun for a little drama. So
it's been entertaining to talk about.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. He is definitely a good fit in Arizona. So it would be nice for fantasy owners.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, let's not get too political with it, but just wanted to say FIFA has banned they've banned Russia from the 2022 World Cup, as well as Formula One has just canceled the Russian Grand Prix. Sports are getting involved with this. Russia is basically being just pushed to the side, forgotten about, canceled in every facet of the matter. What do you think?
I mean, I love it, obviously, because I don't know how much it's going to do, but I also heard, and I'm not sure if it's for these, it's just they can't have like the Russian flag or like be known as Russia, but they're like the Russian nation or like Russian.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious might happen for the World Cup.
So I don't think it's really I don't think it really does much. It's just kind of a statement. So obviously I don't loathe it because it's like, it's making something, but I'll lean love, but I don't see much because I'm pretty sure all the Russians are still going to play. They just, like in Russia, like in the Olympics, it's the Russian Olympic Committee.
Yeah, that's a good point. I bet, especially for the World Cup, they'll probably do something like that.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't be surprised.
They're just not going to go by Russia, but it's going to be all the Russians. So I don't think it's a middle.
For Formula One though, they truly just canceled that entire race. Like
That's big, and
yeah.
I'm down for that.
I mean, I'm down with it. Yeah, I think fuck them, bro. Like, just stick it to the man however we can. But that's going to be big. Interesting to see how they work that out with Formula One because I mean, every race is crucial. So, yeah, that'll be. I'm curious to see if they make a makeup race or do a double race at another location. We'll see. But moving on now, Winter Olympics wrapped up. We talked about it a little bit when it first started, but not much. It seemed to just fly by. So, Team USA finished 4th place in the Winter Olympics with 8 gold medals and 25 total.
Loathe it. We got to be top 3 at least.
Right?
Like at least top 3. Like obviously I'm not big into the Olympics or Winter Olympics like this year especially. Like I just have to keep reminding myself like they're on. Like I used to love the Olympics, but the timing of it's just been kind of tough. So yeah, loathe it. Obviously like finishing 4th it's kind of bad.
That is rough. I mean, dude, okay, but summer though, we're gonna dominate. But still, though, I mean, you got to get top 3. Like,
come on, you got to at least place.
All righty, and then I'll go one more for you here. We got Matt Nagy returns to the Kansas City Chiefs as the senior assistant / quarterbacks coach.
As a Titans fan who has kind of developed a rivalry with the Chiefs, I love it. Love it.
This is a dumb hire, in my opinion.
I love it. The dude, he's not the same Matt Nagy. He's not the coach of the year Matt Nagy. He's not the Chiefs assistant coach Matt Nagy anymore. Like the double doink, I truly believe it ruined his brain. Like it's such a like fun. Like it kind of started off as like, oh yeah, that kind of affected him. But the more you kind of dive into it, it's like that's kind of when now he's trying to get too creative. He's self-conscious about everything now. Like the Bears were good, but I think that season kind of ruined him. And so he's just not the same coach that he was. So yeah, get him involved with Patrick Mahomes, get him involved with the Chiefs. I love it as a Titans fan, especially.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, dude, what if Patrick Mahomes has a bad year, dude, he's going to get so much shit.
I don't think he can because, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
But this definitely doesn't help.
No, yeah, you're right. I was very confused by this hire, but it is what it is. Alrighty, though. Your turn to fire him off at me.
All right. Love it or loathe it. The Warriors gave up a 28-3 run. I've heard that number before. 28-3 run in the 4th quarter. Also heard that to blow the game against the Mavs.
Yeah, see, I'm 50-50 on this. So from a fan standpoint, I love it because I love seeing chaos. I love seeing stuff like this happen in any regular season game. But from a sports bettor standpoint, I'm gonna loathe it because I was on Warriors -3.5, and what the fuck? Like of all teams to blow a 20+ point lead, the Warriors? Like that was brutal. So that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I gotta say I love it just because I actually was unaware of this, but that is unbelievable. That was 28-3.
It was wild, dude. It was a run like I've never seen.
Action on it, so that I love it. But all right, next one. New Zealand women's soccer defender Michaela Moore scored not 1, not 2, but 3 own goals against Team USA in the She Believes Cup.
I love it, mostly because it was against Team USA, but this is one of the funniest stats, and it is a true stat. She had a hat trick of own goals in international play, and I feel bad for her, honestly.
You have to.
Like, her face after, like, the second one went in was just, like, she was definitely sad. She was distraught. She's like, how could this fucking happen? And then the third one, and then you're just like, what is going on, bro? Like, I've never seen that before. I've never seen 2 own goals by the same person, let alone 3 in one game. So that's nuts. I love it.
Yeah, like, I'm going to say love it, too, because, like, wow. Like, yeah, 1 own goal happens, you feel terrible. Like, it's soccer. There's not a ton of goals. So, yeah, an own goal, that's huge. That's crazy.
Yeah.
2 in a game is absurd.
You just got to take yourself out at that point.
Yeah, like 2. And then to somehow have I'm trying to comprehend how this is possible.
Exactly. Like how do you fuck up that many times?
I don't even think it's really on her. Like, it just has to be situation. Like, I need to I'm gonna watch all these goals. Like I have to get to the bottom of this. Like how does this happen?
Yeah, they were. I will say they were avoidable. Like
Oh, okay,
two of
okay.
them were avoidable for sure.
Wow,
But yeah, all right.
unbelievable. But all right, last one we got here. You're gonna love this one. Former Baylor head coach Art Briles hired as Grambling State offensive coordinator under amazing head coach Hugh Jackson, but stepped down today after immense blowback from the public.
So I'm again 50-50 on love it, loathe it, because on one end, I loathe the fact that he was even hired to begin with. Obviously, I am very anti Baylor as a TCU person, but even more so anti Art Briles, as should every human being
Oh
in
yeah.
the world be anti Art Briles, because he's one of the worst human beings to ever grace college football. And the stuff he did to the sport, inexcusable. The stuff he did at Baylor, inexcusable. The fact that he got another job coaching, inexcusable. I truly can't believe that Hugh Jackson, of all people, getting a job at Grambling State, building the HBCU representation, which I'm all about, go HBCUs. Like Jackson State with Dion, they're killing it.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's great to see. And then,
It is.
you bring in a guy like Art Briles. It's just like, really, bro? Like, you're building all this momentum, you're building everything, and then Art Briles? Are you kidding me? And so everybody agreed with that sentiment. I basically just said everybody was huge. Like Stephen A. Smith had a great segment on it too. Just like, I can't believe Hugh Jackson would even consider that. And so Art Briles, I mean, he stepped down on his own. So props to him, I guess. Kudos to him for having the balls to do it. But I just think it was a dumb hire in the first place. So
yeah. So I mean, I'll just say love it. The fact that he stepped down.
Yeah, definitely love
and then the fact that I guess I also kind of love it because just when you think Hugh Jackson can't get any stupider.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like what? Like the unbelievable. So yeah, I love it as well.
That's so dumb, dude. All right. Anyway, though, that is going to wrap things up for today's episode. We appreciate everybody that stayed tuned till the end. This is a little bit of a untraditional episode, you could say, as Zach stepped in to co-host. So again, big shout out to Zach for stepping in, doing this episode. Always have a good time talking with you. And again, everybody should go and check out his podcast, Betting on the Rocks. Follow him on Twitter. You see at Zach Rieger 18, also at Betting on the Rocks is the podcast social media. So go out there, check all of his content out, and hopefully we will continue our regular schedule with a Thursday episode. Life has gotten in the way recently, so we will try to keep you updated, but hopefully we are good to go. So, and it's March, baby. It's March.
It's March. Thanks for having me on. It's always a fun time. Love coming on. So
hell yeah.
Appreciate you guys having me. So
all righty. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will see y'all on Thursday. Peace.